Hello everyone, I hope that you guys are safe and healthy and back at home. If you guys need anything, please let me know. I'm finally back at my own apartment, so that's nice. I'm not in a super awesome Airbnb anymore, which is kind of sad, but it's okay. So today I'm going to go over our final assessment paper and what you need to get done for this week. So try to make it quick, but also beneficial for you guys. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so this is going to be on Blackboard. By the time you watch this, it's already going to be in our weekly assignments folder. And then when you click on this week, it'll pop up. So I'm going to have instructions for the final assessment paper, as well as instructions for the research journal number 1, and the rubric will be posted in that as well. So I'm going to repost this every single week just so that you guys don't forget what you guys are supposed to be doing for this final assessment paper. All right, so for your final paper, you are going to be identifying a contemporary issue that you can make an educated claim about in connection with outside sources. So this issue can be a field of your major, your future job field, a political issue, an educational concern, a safety hazard, or a societal perspective. You're welcome to choose your topic. However, your topic may not have already been overly analyzed or argued. Examples of this topic, of a topic that's overly analyzed or argued, may include the drinking age, marijuana usage, gun laws, abortion, etc. So those are all topics that have already been way too overly analyzed, and they've been argued immensely to the extent that society has likely already pushed you to develop an opinion about that topic. So your opinion on gun laws or your opinion on abortion has already been decided because it's already an issue that's so well known. So in order to properly conduct your research, it's best for you to choose a topic that you don't know an immense amount about so that you are not blinded by the other side of the argument, because this will hinder your ability to properly achieve the research as a whole, because you're going to already have something in mind of what you're going to argue, and you're only going to look for sources that agree with you. So the purpose of this is to find sources that you want to get their opinion, kind of like how we did for the last paper, and you don't want to already go in disagreeing with them. You want to develop your own opinion about it. Your success is going to depend on your ability to create a well-versed argument, enter the academic conversation about the topic, which we've already discussed for the last paper, conduct your research and acknowledge the other perspective, integrate your sources, articulate your argument through rhetorical and logical strategies, and appropriately utilize your sources. That's going to be the main priority for this paper. You are required to use at least 6 academic peer-reviewed sources. The sources you locate and the way you evaluate and organize those sources to use within your discussion of the topic you choose will be an important factor of this assignment. That is probably one of the most important factors. If you don't have all 6 and you haven't properly integrated them into your paper, you could potentially just get an F on it already. That's on the rubric. So your sources must be academic peer-reviewed sources that come from an ENMU database or another scholarly website such as Google Scholar. I do recommend using the ENMU database. And any paper with non-academic sources, such as Wikipedia or blogs, will not be accepted. And we've talked about that with the last paper, so that shouldn't be too surprising for anybody. So the format for this paper is going to be MLA format. You've already been using that for this past paper. I will be going more in depth over MLA format for this one, and it will be more heavily important for your grade on your paper. So it will be written in Times New Roman, 12-point font. It'll be double spaced. You will have a minimum of 8 to 10 pages, not including the works cited page. So that means that if you write 8 pages all the way to the bottom, you're going to have a 9th one, which is your works cited page, at least. MLA format will be emphasized on Blackboard, so I'm going to be going over this more in depth. And you are also welcome to visit Purdue OWL online to view a sample paper and get a better understanding of all their expectations, which I will be going over today. So your draft is going to be due on Sunday, April 19th by 11:59 p.m. It's the same thing as last time. You're going to submit your draft. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to comment on it. It only has to be half the page requirement for the draft due date. So the draft only needs to be 4 to 5 pages long. The draft will not be graded, but participation in the revision workshop, which is led by me, which is essentially just my comments to your draft, will be required before your paper will be accepted. That being said, the draft is meant to act as a guide for you to better understand the writing process and keep you on track. Your draft does not need to be academically sound or grammatically correct by this due date. You're simply being asked to have half of the page length so that we can discuss the next steps for your paper, specifically one-on-one. You should be pretty far into your paper by this point, though, because we're working on it so much during these research journals. Your final copy of your paper is going to be due Wednesday, May 6th by 5 o'clock p.m. on Blackboard. That is the week of finals week. The final copy is required to be 8 to 10 pages long, not including the works cited page, which I've already said, but I'm just reiterating. You need a minimum of 6 academic sources. You'll be graded based on the ENMU rubric that is posted on Blackboard, so please reference this rubric when determining whether your copy is ready for submission or not. Please also reference the syllabus for penalties on late submissions. Oh, I need to erase that because we already know that you have the opportunity to revise no matter what. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so that is the instructions for the final assessment paper. That is going to be on Blackboard, like I said. So now I'm going to pull up the research journal number 1 instructions. Okay, so this is a disclaimer. Please see the instructions for paper number 3 before beginning the research journal, because you will need to thoroughly understand the instructions for the assignment before beginning any research on it. Okay, so this week you will be required to, excuse me, let me just turn this off. This week you will be required to, number 1, provide the topic of the contemporary issue you'd like to discuss in your paper. I'm going to come back to this because, as you can see, I have many bullet points underneath it. So that's number 1. You need to provide the topic of the issue that you're going to be discussing. Scroll down. Those are all my bullets. Number 2, you need to find 3 sources that will provide information or concerns on your chosen topic. There's a typo. So number 1 is choosing your topic. Number 2 is finding 3 sources that provide information for you on that topic that you've chosen. Number 3, explain why those 3 sources could help you during your research. And I'll show you how to do this in a minute. And then number 4 is cite those 3 sources into a working works cited page. Okay, so I'm going to go back and go in detail about this. All right, so providing the topic of the contemporary issue you'd like to discuss. We've already went over this. You do not need to have your argument outlined just yet, but you do need to have a specific topic area that you'd like to focus on. This will make more sense in a minute. Your argument is not required to be already decided this week. The only thing that needs to be decided is the topic, the specific topic you're talking about. I'll explain this in a minute. This just talks about what the final assessment paper instructions say, which is just what kind of topic can you choose, what type of topic can't you choose, blah, blah, blah. And then now I'm explaining, I wrote a paper similar to this when I took English 1120. The topic I chose was non-native English speakers as English teachers, because I knew that I wanted to be an English major to teach English. So as you can see, this topic does not contain an argument. It's just my decision to find an issue in this area. So my argument ended up being that English teachers should not be required to be native English speakers because of the advantages that they may provide to the student's learning environment. So that was my argument, but I started out just saying that I wanted to talk about non-native English speakers as English teachers. and ended up focusing on a very specific argument. This is what you're being asked to do for your paper. This week, you're only being asked to provide the specific topic you like to research, not the argument itself. So if I were doing this, I would only provide this. I would only need to provide this, excuse me, and I wouldn't have to provide my argument just yet. But if you have an idea of where you want to go, that's fine, but you probably shouldn't choose a topic that you already know what you want to argue, unless you've been looking at this or thinking about what you want to argue since the beginning of the semester. Okay, so other topics you could research are, so your future job field is one, which is what I did, your major, a political issue, an educational concern, or a societal perspective. You might argue, your argument might end up being maybe your major is overlooked by society, maybe women in your future job field are less respected, maybe the educational system needs to focus more on music in public schools, maybe your school is overlooking an important issue occurring on campus, maybe society is not educated on an important issue happening in the United States. There's many more aspects or arguments that you could choose. I'm just giving you some general topics that might help you get your brain flowing. And these are factors that you should begin thinking about. But your only responsibility this week by Sunday at midnight is to determine a specific topic that you'd like to focus on. So you need to decide something like what I did with non-native English speakers as English teachers. Okay, so let's dive into finding the 3 sources that provide information or concerns on your chosen topic. So these sources that you find must be sources that you know you will use in your paper. Of course, you may change them later if you do decide to. If you find a source that's better, that's fine. But the 3 sources you choose this week should be, they must be prevalent enough for you to want to use it in your research. So you should be planning on using them for your final paper. But if they change, I'm not going to dock your grade for that. It's just, I need you to at least have 3 sources that you're definitely going to use as of now. So this will help you in understanding what the current academic conversation is pertaining to your topic, kind of like we did for the second paper. During my research about the non-native English speakers as English teachers, I found that a lot of people were concerned with the stigma that society had on those people who did not speak English as their first language teaching. So this is how I decided on my topic. I didn't know that there was such a issue surrounding this. I didn't know that people had a negative stigma. So this research that you do this week should help you deciding on your argument. So while I agreed with what the researchers were saying in regards to the stigma being negative and needing to be removed from societal minds, you may disagree with the research that you find. It's up to you, and it should be your argument, but you need to back it up. So you might choose a research paper that says something that you completely disagree with. Like maybe they say having music in schools is not a good idea. And then you say, well, hold on, wait a minute, I don't agree with that. So you can use that to your advantage by saying, this person says that music shouldn't be in schools. However, I disagree with them. So it's okay if they don't align with where you want to go, but it needs to be general information that can help you understand what the current conversation is about your topic. And then explaining why those 3 sources could help you during your research. So you're going to need to explain to me what you're going to use those sources for. Does the source provide you an interesting perspective for your chosen specific topic? Does the source provide an example of somebody who has personally experienced something within your chosen specific topic? And why does the source matter? How are you going to use it to come up with an argument for your paper? So you need to explain, you need to show me that you're thinking about, you're not just choosing a random paper. You're looking at them, you're saying, okay, I am going to use this one because it provides insight on a non-native English speaker as a teacher, okay? And then citing those sources into your works cited page. So you will begin working on your works cited page, format it as you normally would in MLA style, and cite the 3 sources you have chosen to use in your paper. You're going to be graded based on your determination of the specific topic that you're going to be using, such as the non-native English speakers teaching English. You will also be graded on your explanation of why those 3 sources could help you during your research and how you may use those sources in your paper. And you will be graded on your citation method. You must cite it as referenced on Purdue OWL's webpage. So I provided the webpage. And then I also provided a sample of an MLA paper on Purdue OWL that you can scroll down to the works cited page to see how yours should look. So I guess I'll take you guys there. Okay, so this page is about general basic format for works cited page in MLA. It just has explanations. On this little sidebar, you can find specific formatting in the works cited page. So if you find a book that you want to use, which I imagine you're probably not using a book unless it's an electronic source. So this is just a nice place for you to start. The basic format, finding an electronic source, whatever you want. So let me go back. And this is a sample paper from Purdue OWL, which should help you with understanding how it should look. Let's see. So I'm going to scroll. This is sample MLA. This is what you need to know. Right now, we're just focusing on the works cited page. We'll worry about the rest later. So this is how it should look. You should have your last name up here with a page number. Works cited right here in the middle. Everything's double spaced. You need a hanging indent, which I'm going to show you how to do here in a minute. And this is what it should generally look like. Obviously, that's a lot of sources. You're only going to have 3, but this is just a sample. So let me take some time. Oh, also on the next page of this document, I'm going to provide a sample of how your research journal should look. When you turn it in on Blackboard, it should be in a Word document so that the works cited page does not get misformatted when you turn it in. And please do not hesitate to contact me for assistance, questions, or concerns regarding this assignment. I'm happy to help in any way, shape, or form I can, but I can't help you unless you tell me that you need help. The best way to reach me is via my email at alexandria.krausen@enmu.edu. So this is a new page. I'm going to show you guys some tricks that I think would be beneficial because I know a lot of you have kind of struggled with this a little bit. Okay, so pretend this is just a brand new document. I'm going to click up here. It might be different if you're working from Word Online, but it's fairly similar. Also, I'm on a MacBook, so that might be a little bit different too, but it generally is correct. So I'm going to click up here in the header. I'm going to click Insert. Okay, so when I clicked up in header, it already brought me to this header and footer area, and it shows page number right here. So I'm going to click on that and click page number. It tells me if I want to align it on the right. So I'm going to say yes. It's going to say 1 on yours because it's something that you've just started, but I'm on a document, I'm adding to it. If you are on a different type of computer, you might have to click up in the header and go to Insert, and it will show up around here too, page number. Sometimes I click up here and I click Insert, and then I click page number. Right here. So there's different ways you can do it. But notice this is in Calibri. I know a lot of people can't notice that because only weird people notice that, like me. But it's in Calibri, so I'm going to click up here and I'm going to change this to Times New Roman. So make sure you triple click on your page number and change it to Times New Roman because it automatically does Calibri. Then I'm going to do a aligned right, and I'm going to change again to Times New Roman, and I'm going to type my last name. So yeah, that's something that maybe a lot of people don't realize that you need to do is change that up there. But I'm also going to show you, so let's just pretend we're doing a works cited page right now. So it's in Times New Roman, 12-point font, works cited. And then I'm gonna go and look at format, and I'm gonna go to paragraph. If you're on a different type of computer, like a Dell or something, it'll probably show up around here, and it's gonna have formatting, and it has like a tiny little arrow. So it has paragraph, and there's a little arrow right here that you wanna click. So I'm sorry I can't show you on mine, but it's the same place you go to change it to double space. So I'm going to change this to double space. I'm going to make sure that before and after is at 0, because some computers don't do that automatically. And I'm going to bring this back. And I'm going to go back up to format. And I'm actually going to, so we already looked at spacing before and after and made it double spacing. But look at this indentation thing. It's going to look different on yours, but it'll be in the same place. It has special. I'm going to click on hanging. It automatically puts it by 0.5. So look down here, see what that did. I'm going to change it back to none. This is what it looks like down here. And when I change it to special hanging, it pushes it that way. So a lot of you have been pressing tab and entering on your works cited page. That's not what you're going to do. You're going to do this, special hanging. So let me pull up a document so I can show you a sample. So I'm just gonna, these are things that I've already done for a different class. So I'm gonna paste it in here. So look at that. That is what that did. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to change it to special hanging. And then this is, so that's 3. This is something similar to what you're gonna be using. It's going to be specific to whatever source you're using, but essentially this is what it should look like. Make sure that you go to Purdue OWL to see what source you're using and how you're going to cite that. So if I'm looking at an electronic source, Purdue OWL is going to show me, let's see, if more than likely you guys are going to be citing an article in an online scholarly journal. That's usually what you guys have been using. So it's going to be this last name, comma, first name, period. And then the title of the article is in quotations, research in youth culture and policy, blah, blah, blah. Make sure that it's in the correct capitalization. And then this is the journal, and it's going to be in italics. And then it has the volume number, the number of the volume, the issue, I think, the year, so it's volume, period 6, comma, NO for number, period, 2, comma, year, comma, and then you're going to paste a link. And then you say when you accessed it. Accessed 20 May 2009, which if you did it today, you'd say access 6 April 2020, period. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for the works cited page. But I also want to show you something else. So I don't really care if you put the works cited page first or if you put the other questions first. It doesn't matter, but your works cited page needs to be separate from the other questions that you're being asked. So when you explain why you're going to use that source, you need to do that on a different paper, because this is supposed to start helping you with your final works cited page. So a lot of people don't know this, but I'm going to go to the end of this paper, this works cited page. I'm going to click insert, and I'm going to go to break. Obviously it'll look different on your document depending on what kind of computer you have, but you can also go here, you can insert and go to pages and go to page break. Boom, that brings me to a new page. I didn't have to press enter 30 times. That's really beneficial for you, so you don't have to keep on bringing it back, and a lot of people just don't know that you can do that. So what you're going to do for the other questions that we have, so let's see, that is not the correct document. Let's see what other questions that I have for your research journal. So number one is the topic. So I'm not picky about how you do this, but this is how generally you could do it. So I'm just going to say number one, my topic I've decided is going to be non-native English speakers as teachers. That is my topic. That's it. I typed number one, period, typed out my topic that I'm going to use. And then now I'm going to number two, which is find 3 sources. All right, cool. So I have my 3 sources right here. I'm going to copy those. You don't have to put the whole entire thing. It might be easier if you cite it first and then just paste it. I'll remove that. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to explain. This is why I'm using this source. I can use this source as a counter argument to my argument. Obviously, you probably won't know this right now, but you could also say this source discusses the common critique that society has on non-native English speakers who are teachers. It provides a lot of insight on what society is saying about them. It argues that this stigma is not okay and should change. Okay, so I just explained the source. This is going to benefit you because you're keeping track of your sources and why you're using it. And it shows me that you're thinking about those sources. So same thing here. You can do this. I'm using this source because it explicitly provides maybe research on how people respond to non-native English speakers who are teachers. It shows that many people have been negative towards the idea of their English teacher not having English as their first language. I don't really care. It's just, I want you to explain why you're going to use it. This source provides, maybe this source provides a history of non-native English speakers as teachers. It shows that a spike in non-native English speakers as teachers has occurred in the past 10 years, and it shows what has changed since then. I will use this to provide history on this topic. Okay, so that is what you need to do. So as you can see, I have chosen my topic. I put it under number one, and then under number two, I have not only provided the 3 sources, but I've also provided my explanation of why these sources matter, how they can relate to my argument or my topic, and how I could potentially use them. So, and then I have my works cited page. That answers everything that I've asked. Let's make sure. Yep, we found the 3 sources, we've explained why they matter, we've cited them. So I'm good to go. So if yours looks like this, that's fine. Your works cited is right here. It's set up just like it would be in a normal paper. It should look exactly how it will in your final paper. And it should have 3 sources so far. Next week, we're going to do 3 more. And it's okay if you just have number 1, topic. Number 2, the source you're going to use and why. That is it. I know it doesn't seem like a lot right now, but it may be a lot, so make sure that you divide it up. Try to follow that like 50-minute segment for 3 days out of the week. So if you did a 50-minute segment tomorrow and then did a 50-minute segment on Thursday, and then on Saturday, whatever you want to do. But this is what it needs to look like. So it's going to be more challenging than it looks right now from what I've just shown you, because you need to do the research. You need to think about a topic. You need to think about where you're going to find it. So go to Google Scholar, like I showed you. Go to the ENMU database and find sources that have to do with that, and then explain. It doesn't have to be long. It could be a few sentences long about why they matter. And that is it. That is all that I'm asking you, which, yes, it's a lot to an extent, for this week's research journal. And then you are going to submit it into Blackboard in this week's folder. It's going to be all in the same place. So I'm going to save this document, and I'm going to submit it up there and upload this video along with it. I hope that you guys are having a great time at home. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. And if you guys need anything, please email me. I can't help you unless you let me know that you need something. And for those of you who have sent me stuff, I think you can attest to the fact that I've been very helpful. I've tried responding. I have responded every single day. Sometimes it might take me a while to respond, but I'm doing so. So please just take advantage of that and stay on track. If you have any issues, please let me know. Reminder, this is due Sunday at 11:59 p.m., just like your final paper was yesterday. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I obviously can't talk, and I haven't had coffee, so I'm gonna go. I will talk to you guys later.